Hi, I am Raven Campbell, also known as Cammie. I am from the Live 7-5. I have been to Japan 3 times.
Wow. How's it going? My name is Dustin. I'm from just outside Kansas City, Overland Park, Kansas. And interesting fact about me is next month I'm doing jungle survival training in the Amazon in Guyana.
Hello, my name is Jerice Clay, also known as DJ JC from the 313. I am from Detroit, Michigan, and an interesting fact about me is recently I became an open home for foster and adoption.
I'm Justin. I'm from Kansas City, and an interesting fact about me is I have been swimming in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Hi, I am Whitney Davis from Henderson, North Carolina, the 252. And one interesting fact about me is that I sell Brazilian bundles on my online store. You can shop with allmyhaircollection.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm from Orlando, Florida. Fun fact about me is that I own over 36 pairs of shoes that all have over 1,000 miles on each one. Which, according to him, I've run around the earth at least once.
That's pretty good. Yo, it's your boy Jawari. I'm back again. Love me or hate me, but I'm back for episode 2. They couldn't get rid of me, the returning guest. I'm back, I'm coming hard. What's up?
We're dating! That's why you're here!
I'm here to keep things spicy.
I'm back in the middle.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike Day. I am from Little Rock, Arkansas, and one good interesting thing about me is that I am looking forward to being the biggest filmmaker to come out of Arkansas.
That's right.
No,
I went to the store real quick. I went to the store real quick.
I know it's
That's
gonna
what I'm
happen
talking
so
about.
Some Dustin, by the way.
Big bottle of pop.
We're going to make a toast to...
You and Jawari.
Oh.
Always setting up great things.
Oh, well, there we go. We can do that. And to all of you for coming. Thank you.
There she is.
You know,
Can't reach you guys.
Virtually. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to kick it off. The first question is, what in life is beautiful to you, and where do you find inspiration?
Love is beautiful to me.
Okay.
Like being in a new relationship, feeling new, fresh feelings, getting to know somebody, getting to learn that person, liking similar things, laughing together, like, you know, fresh love, but love in general is beautiful. And it's definitely inspiring. It gives me hope.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not ashamed to say I've done it a few times. I've loved and lost. But loved again. So, and that's part of the beauty. To learn from that love and know how to learn better the next time. So that's beautiful to me.
Okay, I love that. What else? What does anybody else think?
I think nature is beautiful. I'm a
Okay.
huge outdoorsman, and I get inspiration from action. So you start off with something small, and you go, I'm just going to go for a hike. And you go, I did that, and I can do this. And you do that, and you go, well, I can do this. And then you kind of, you know, the action creates passion, which creates more action.
I find beautiful in life is kindness towards strangers, and I find motivation in that is just seeing examples of that every day, and just seeing someone go out of their way when they don't have to help someone else is it's really beautiful.
Okay. Next question.
So relax.
When did your life change for the better?
Every day.
Ooh.
Try to be better than you were yesterday.
Okay. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you guys? When did your life change for the better?
When I stopped caring what other people thought.
Yeah.
The minute I stopped caring about who was going to say what, who was going to judge what, the minute I just said I'm going to enjoy my life and live it for me and not anybody else, it got better.
Why is that so hard for us and people in general? Why is that so hard to like stop caring? Like, I feel like a lot of us care a lot about what other people think about us, but like, why?
Because I think we feel like people will disown us if they don't approve of what we do. They'll separate themselves.
Right,
I'm sorry.
I feel like it's something that's ingrained in us. You know, with social media and with the news and things like that. Like all you constantly hear is people talking about other people. Like that's what news is that what's going on in this person's life. And the thing is that you only ever get half the story. And because it's something that we've grown up with and something that we've been around, that's how we like see the world, is that you are supposed to care what people think of you. Because that's how you're going to get to where you're going to get.
Because we started with our parents. We cared what our parents thought. And everything they told us to do, we followed. Everything they approved of, and they gave us praise for that, we appreciated it. And then it started to manifest itself in our friends in elementary and high school. And then it got more and more progressed with, like you say, social media and the news. So, yes, it has been ingrained in us. But then at some point we have to shut it off. Shut it off from our parents, from our friends, from social media, from the news, and say, I don't care what other folks feel and think. Am I happy with me? Now, as long as I'm not offending anybody else, and as long as I'm not imposing myself on anybody else and just, you know, kind of comfortably living my life, then I should be entitled to do that. So, and I'm still working on it. I've not mastered it.
So I wonder if our parents, teachers, the people who have that early influence on us should be kind of telling us that when we're younger. Like, hey, you're supposed to listen to me, but at the same time, don't need my approval to feel good about yourself. I don't know.
I think there's a way to do that, but I don't know if most parents know how to communicate that.
I would have no idea where to start with that, to kind of go against everything that everyone's been taught for so long, right? I mean, you always hear about your parents saying, don't embarrass me. You know, like I'm pretty sure we've all heard that, you know, and that's something that we're constantly thinking about. That's something that we're constantly doing. We're like, you know, we have to think about our actions before we do it. We have to think about the things that we're going to say before we say it. And so that's just everything that we do is always second. We don't just do it. We don't just say it. And we do that because of that reason of getting approval from other people, or, you know, caring what people think about us. That's why people post their successes on social media, right? Because they're trying to prove, like, hey, look, I'm doing something with my life. And they seek that approval from other people. So, I mean, I don't even know where somebody would start to even reverse all of that.
I think just to add on to that.
That's frustrating. That shit is frustrating.
But I think to add on to that, not seeking other people's approval and doing it for you, and to stop caring what other people think. As long as you do it in a way that you said, as long as it's healthy and it's not imposing on people. But when you stop seeking others' approval, generally is when people actually approve of you more. And when you stop thinking about or caring about what people think, people generally think higher of you. So it's kind of the catch-22. Once you stop caring, is when it then comes. So.
I think that is like so important, because I was thinking that, and I think about the time that most recently I think that my life has changed for the better, is I was contemplating whether or not I was going to post a blog post about Jawari and I breaking up. And I was like, man, this is kind of personal. I was like, and to kind of just kind of let this all out and just be like, hey, I'm glad we broke up. Like, I don't know if that's the right thing to say. And so I was really, really nervous. And then I said, you know what? I was like, people are going to think I'm bad at relationships. People are going to think I'm stupid because I moved all the way to Arkansas to be with somebody that I'm not with. You know, I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? And oops. I don't know if I can say that.
Don't care what YouTube thinks.
Yeah, okay. Please don't take me off. But you know, I said, you know what? I said, I'm just gonna post it. And ironically, that post probably has gotten me the most feedback, and people flooded me with thank you so very much. I've been in the same situation. I felt the same thing, but I didn't know how to address it, or I felt alone and things like that. And I've noticed that in order to really change your life for the better, in order to really have, I think, the peace that you need to be happy, you really have to just let that shit go. You know, it's like a big weight on your shoulders. And you're like, you know what? I'm tired of putting up the facade. I'm tired of doing all this. It's just what it is. Yeah. That's all I got.
Let that shit go. T-shirts coming soon. Go to our shop. We got them coming. Yeah, we got them coming soon. Let that shit go. 2019.
Ooh, somebody's at the
That's
door.
Osa, this is your only
Go
job.
on, bro.
Osa,
You don't have to do much.
his shirt's coming all out. You got real comfortable.
Them damn high water pants.
We about to roast you.
They're tailored.
You better get us right.
Yo, Mike, what's up, baby?
Mike.
Hi, everybody.
Mike, what's good, baby? Hey, you came in at the right point too.
Yes.
We were talking about not giving a shit.
I just need to put in a plug for this. My food's not nasty. Mike's just allergic to everything. I don't want everybody. I feel like people in the comments are already like, damn, he knew not to eat her food because it's
He
nasty.
knew that crab dip was going to get you.
No, that's not it. That's what I'm saying. Watch him.
Seconds, yeah.
What are you allergic to?
Everything. So seafood, like tree nuts, bananas, mushrooms.
I thought
I went to school at the U of A and wanted to become a journalist. I wanted to do journalism until there was a situation in the class where I got into it with a teacher about how to portray a police brutality victim, I guess you want to call it, Mike Brown. And once we disagreed on that, I kind of realized that, you know, the job of the news sometimes, depending on what side you're on, it's not to tell it, it's to make it interesting. So clickbait or whatever. So I got out of it and I decided I just wanted to do film that addressed social issues. So Black Lives Matter, women inequality in pay, something I'm just, you know, really passionate about.
He's done a few watch parties and stuff for some of his stuff. It's
Okay,
pretty good.
I was gonna say, so you do film and you
Yes.
have like mini movies out there.
So far, it's just one documentary titled "Buy Back the Block," basically addressing the progress Little Rock has made 60 years after the Little Rock 9. And I also do music videos on the side. So my tag is full-time videographer, part-time rapper. I will make music videos. I will make songs with meanings and then turn around and make music videos. Because I also believe we are in that stage, I don't know about worldwide per se, but here, you know, in a culture of hip hop, there isn't, to me, a lot of songs are meaningless or they're the same things you hear every day. So
No,
I
I
like
mean, I
to,
can definitely
you know,
agree with
just like
that.
to be different. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the next question. I love this because we're just having a lot of candid conversation.
Sweet.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say keep the wine going. The next question is, what's the one thing you wish to accomplish before you die?
Ooh, yeah.
Mike, go ahead and start us off, baby. Go ahead and start us off.
What is the one thing you wish to accomplish before you die? I know that there might be a lot of things, but maybe pick 2 or 3.
You're already in a beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
You're already.
Yes.
You're
Your
already
wife
accomplished
is
that.
beautiful and she's
You're already-
amazing.
Yeah, you're already accomplished
Yeah, 40.
that.
She works for 4029. She's that morning anchor.
Yes, she
Yeah,
is.
Oh, great.
yeah. Shout out to the wife. Because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be here.
That's good. That's good.
Now, that's a good question though. If I can accomplish one thing, it would probably be probably open up a summer program for Black students back home. So, you know, the story is while school is out or after school programs, a lot of kids, the way to stay out of trouble is either get a job, join the community center, you know, something so that they can be distracted by the gangs or the affiliations that goes on in the hood or whatever. And so what's going on in Little Rock right now, or it was like a couple years ago maybe, a lot of community centers were shut down in favor of dog parks. We need dog parks, you know.
Wow. So the kids don't need to go anywhere, but our dogs need to go around.
And you know, and even recently there was an article released something about if test scores are bad, kids can have a reduced time for lunch.
Wow.
So we ain't even feeding the kids.
Right, it's a potential we
You
not
mess
even
up
feeding the
its
kids. And who wants to learn? Who really
they're
wants
hungry.
to learn when they're hungry? It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. But if I could accomplish one thing, it would be to open up maybe a summer institute for kids from the age of 12 to maybe 17. Have them have an internship, come in for film or some kind of art or African American history. And hopefully, have them learn something, pay them like $10 an hour. Kids love making money in school. Rather than doing it on the street, you could be doing it in the classroom. So that's my goal.
He's relaxing.
Where could I get a cup?
I'm not
Go into the pantry,
I'm not gonna
and
stop.
then you'll see clear and red cups on like the
How would you feel
second
later?
shelf to your
She
right.
well, let him lead you.
Man,
Let him lead
I
you.
have not caught the spirit yet.
That's real.
Yeah, we all gotta catch.
I have to find a way to ensure that students are getting, kids, just in general, not just students, but kids in general, are being fed. I have spent some time working for the state in the Department of Human Services, providing things like SNAP, which is formerly known as food stamps. I'm well aware of the troubles that come with free and reduced lunch and things like that. And there's a little bit of ignorance that comes, and people are like, oh, okay, well, people are on reduced lunch or they get free lunch at school. So, like they're taken care of. What happens when they go home? What happens when they're on the weekend? Like, these kids aren't eating. And I know that people have different kind of viewpoints about welfare or about, helping adults and things like that. But you have to realize, like, a child literally doesn't ask to be born. They're just there. And so if they're going home every single night and they're hungry, they didn't ask to be born to the parents that they were born to or anything like that. But they can't learn. And so then they're going to school and they're behind the curve. Then they don't end up getting the education that they need. Then once they don't get the education, our society is set up not to fund the arts or, things like social services or anything else like that. So they're not getting high paying jobs. And then it just repeats the cycle. And there are a lot of studies that show that just fixing things like that could help. And some schools now have it to where if you have a balance on your account as a child, you can't eat. So if you have racked up $5 in meals and you don't have that $5, you cannot eat. So you can sit in the cafeteria and watch all of your friends eat and realize that you're the poor kid that can't eat. And now you're even more ashamed. And to me, something like a meal just should be something that kids are afforded.
And not just a meal though, a decent meal.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if you know, but people in Little Rock School District, you check out some of them schools, you might as well be in prison. You know what you're eating. So not just food, but quality food too.
Absolutely. And so for me, before I leave this earth, I would love to fix it in all of the schools, but at the very least in the community that I'm in, I have to find a way to either pay off the balances of the kids that can't eat or to provide some type of alternative system that people can sign up for or something. But these children have to eat. It's just not acceptable.
As young professionals, like, we all want to be successful, but like, my main, well, not my main goal, but like a goal of mine is to start a family. Like, I want to find love, marriage, and children. And I want to show my children the love that their parents have that I didn't get to see growing up. Like, that's something I want for them.
Now that's deep.
That's very deep.
Like, that's real. Like, it's almost like scary though. It's like, just when you're dating, you're like, you think like that person is the one you want to be with, right? And it's like, what if I do all this, I'm dating this person, and we get married, and we have children, and then I ruin it, like, or we ruin the relationship, and now my children have to go through what I went through, that divorce, that it's just drama, and I just want them to have a family, like one that I did not have, right?
What's the one thing you wish to accomplish before you die, Justin?
Come on, Jay.
He's about to drop some knowledge.
I don't know about that.
This is about to be the wokest answer ever.
No pressure.
Right? One thing I want to accomplish. I mean, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but my mom, which has been the only parent in my life, at least I think she has been always so proud of me because I'm the first one in a long time in my family to graduate college and then get a nice job and not get in trouble with the law and all that stuff. And so I think her expectations for a good son have already been met. And so I guess I just want to keep exceeding those expectations. And then also kind of like what you were talking about, Whitney, is be there for my son or daughter when my father was not. But I mean, I kind of see him not being there as a silver lining because he was gone before I knew what was going on. And so growing up, I was just always like, I just got a mom. Like, okay. And so just being there for my children is what I hope to do.
Do you think that motivated you, like, you know, to be the guy who you are today? Because I know a lot of, like back home, if your daddy ain't there, that's a trickle effect.
Motivation.
Right.
So how did you?
So it was, I mean, thinking back on it, it was definitely confusing because, and I've talked about this with my mom, she tried to like play both roles. Like she'd be the caring one, she'd be the one to knock me on my butt when I was being dumb and everything. But also I have an older brother who's 6 years older than me. So growing up, he kind of became the male role model for me. Even though growing up we actually hated each other a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when we were younger, just getting everything out there. My father was abusive, and so my brother was old enough to understand what was going on. And I was actually, I don't remember this, but my father's favorite, apparently. And so my brother hated me for just not getting the same treatment. And so that was hard growing up because, one, I didn't understand why my brother just always hated me. But now we're on good terms. We're good. We're grown up. And so...
You moved into therapy right there.
Yeah.
And you thought it wasn't gonna be woke. You thought it wasn't gonna be woke.
It's cool though.
That's deep, yeah.
And so, yeah, having my brother there, he stepped in from time to time and acted as that male role model. And also, it wasn't his intention, but I learned a lot of what not to do. Since my brother had some trouble when he was growing up. And so I saw firsthand of the repercussions of certain actions, and I was like, I don't want that. And so even though he wasn't actively trying to teach me things, he was, and I was learning from that growing up. And so I guess I thank him for that.
Wow.
No, but I told you.
A bottle for celebration. Yes,
That's gross.
People back home need to hear your story. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you so very much for your transparency. One of the things, like one of the reasons that I started this is because I think that it's so hard for people to be transparent and to have those moments because you feel so kind of like ostracized and you might feel like no one else is going through that. But in the event that there is literally anyone else who is, now they've heard your story and they don't feel alone. So thank you so very much for being willing to even have that conversation with us.
Man, it's tough. That's what's up.
That cake is spicy, ain't it?
Right.
That's what it is. But what is your life story? And you gotta tell it to me in 2 minutes. And you're on.
Okay, so how did I get to where I am today, or why am I here where I am today? So as I was saying, I grew up in Kansas City, went to high school there, great childhood. Graduated high school, and it's like, all right, what's the next step? And naturally, it's like, all right, let's go to college. So I went there, I majored in a couple different things, figuring out what I wanted to do, what's fun, what interests me, and what actually has a feasible path forward. So I chose supply chain management. It was a new challenge for me. I'm not traditionally a big numbers math guy, but this had enough of that, so I think it was a good skill set. I don't want to be siloed in my skill set and just be, someone who does one thing. And then after college, I went and traveled for a bit. I interned here, and I traveled. I've been around the world. It was always kind of the next place. So I was like, all right, I gotta like settle down, catch my breath for a minute. So I decided to come here to Walmart, just here in Arkansas, to work here, do supply chain. And as I was saying, I've always just been more, harder, faster, just keep going, work out more, go to the travel more, read more, just do everything. What I liked about supply chain is that you can't just do more. You have to be balanced. You have to work smarter, get more organized. So I decided to move back here and really take on that challenge and kind of catch my breath. Because I was always moving around. I was, all right, I'm gonna go teach English in Thailand. I'm gonna go volunteer down in Tanzania, and then I'm gonna go back. I've done a lot of things and moved around, and at one point I was kind of like, okay, I need to like chill out. So I came here, decided to kind of start focusing on a career. And like I said earlier, what I want to be known for when I die, I don't know yet. So now it's kind of time to start really thinking in, digging into the details of my life and saying, okay, where do I want to take this and where do I want to head?
Okay. All right. Justin.
Man. It was like in the classroom, you don't make eye contact. I'm still thinking.
All right. What is
Oh, man.
Talk to me about it.
Wait, you want to
Sorry, I'm doing too much.
Austin, make sure you zoom in.
So actually, I also grew up in Kansas City on the Missouri side, but yeah. My bad. Let's see. Grew up, as I talked about before, a single parent. She was awesome, pulled through. We're also pretty poor, but I grew up in a good home, and I learned a lot of valuable lessons early on. I got into video games, so that was cool. I actually credit video games to getting me into software engineering, because I don't know if you guys know the video game Halo. There's that little blue girl, Cortana AI person. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? And I was like, yo, I think I could actually make that in real life. And then I was talking to one of my engineering teachers in high school. And I was like, how do I like go to school for computers? Like, what's that called? It's like, oh, you mean computer science? And I was like, yeah. I'm gonna do that. And so, I picked it up. I was like, boom, that's what I'm doing. And I guess I was pretty athletic in high school. I did cross country and track, and then a little bit in college.
You're a photographer.
Okay. No,
Same split.
Yo, hit me up on the.
Follow me.
But yeah, I graduated college. I kind of just stayed in the Midwest. Graduated college from Missouri S&T. Moved down here. It's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, just trying to get ready for whatever's next.
Nice.
The Fitbit. What is your life story?
It all started. She just wanted to dance with somebody.
I really did. Where it started. So originally, let me throw that out there. Originally, I'm from Maryland, Suitland, Maryland, but I grew up in Henderson, North Carolina. Single parent, single mom. But my dad was there a little bit, like in the beginning, like early stages. But so like when he left, it was just like, what happened? So then, saw my mom struggle, right? But you don't understand as a child like what's going on. But looking back, it's like, yo, mom really did that. Like I don't know how she did that, but she took great care of us. Never needed for anything. That's really why I love her for that. Always top of the class, sports, stay focused. Graduated high school, went to Winston-Salem State University, where I majored in computer science. Shout out to MySpace for always keeping me up at night, working on my profile.
You got them begging for those
MySpace made us all programs.
Yeah, MySpace made us all programs.
I was really like that. I think that's like that and video games, but not really video, but computer games. I used to stay up like all night playing that for some reason. But I went into computer science. Then junior year, sophomore, junior year, I went to Thurgood Marshall Leadership Conference where I interviewed with Walmart. and they offered me an internship where I took my first flight ever.
Oh wow.
Oh.
My first flight was to my internship here in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Like my
Wow.
What a letdown.
Straight to hell.
God
Like, straight to
Yo!
The devil's waiting right when she got off the airplane, like, no more. Make your way
Woo,
inside.
Chad.
No, it's all right. Arkansas is a beautiful.
Yeah. We here. And so after the internship was offered full time, so I came back after I graduated. And I'm here now. During my internship, I realized that I do not want to be a programmer. So I'm in security. So now we're trying to figure out what the next step is in life. I'm not sure what I want to do after or whatever's next. God is still will lead me because I didn't even know I was going to be here. Trust me. When they gave me the offer letter, I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I was like,
I got an internship, but ooh, yeah. Tell them your plan. Yeah, okay. So now we'll see where he takes me. Oh, the places I'll go.
Oh, the places you will go. Thank you. Okay. Your life story, Shelby.
Oh.
I was just running.
You're
You're just taking a breath from a run.
Shelby didn't want to make eye contact.
Okay, so life story of Shelby. Well, I was born in England. My parents had met in Cincinnati, Ohio. Moved to England, so I was born and raised there. I kind of struggled a lot in school to the point where my parents got me like an IEP because I was doing so bad, but nobody knew why. So my parents had invested a lot of time in tutors and things like that, and they basically told my parents that I would never be anything more than a bagger at a grocery store.
Wow.
And so my parents had invested so much money in tutors from the time that I was in 3rd grade until I was like a freshman in high school. And one of math teacher was like, we'll get you through this. Like, you're gonna be more than that. And so he kind of, throughout the entire summer, tutored me in math. And after that, I kind of started getting the confidence in myself. And I was like, you know what? So many people in my life have told me, you can't do this. You're not going to do it. You're just unable. You just don't have the ability. So I started getting more into sports, and everyone knows, like, if you play a sport, like, you have to keep up the grades. Mm-hmm. And so I had that accountability. And so I ran track and cross country as well. And when I graduated, I actually graduated top of my class, like graduated with like 3.8 GPA. And proved everyone wrong. Went to college, and everyone's like, Shelby, what are you gonna major in? And I was like, I'm thinking accounting, finance, something along the line. They're like, you're not really that great at math. Like, do you really think that you could do that? Like, you may flunk out. And I was like, that makes me kind of want to do it even more. So I actually triple majored in accounting, business, and finance.
Wow.
And I graduated top of my class. And I was also in Enactus, which is how I got recruited by Walmart. And after talking for 10 minutes, they're like, you're a phenomenal person. Like, you've overcome a lot. You've obviously know how to persevere, and you know how to accomplish your goals, and we would be lucky to have you. And so, you know, I was kind of iffy about it. My dad goes, Shelby, it's Walmart. You gotta take that opportunity. So I moved out here to Arkansas, and, you know, I was kind of trying to find a way to push myself even further. So a few months after I started at Walmart, I started my MBA at John Brown. And people were like, Shelby, do you really think that you can do that? You probably can't. You just started a full-time job. Are you sure that you can handle that academically? Well, I just finished in December with a 4.0 in my MBA program. And, you know, and people were like shocked. They're like, wait, she actually did that? Like, what did you do to do that? I'm like, honestly, doubt me, I'll prove you wrong. And so that's something that I've always just try to do, is just continue to push on and prove everyone who, you know, thought low of me. And my parents have always been there to be like, Shelby, you can do this. You're going to do this. You're going to overcome this. Like, you're not a bagger at a grocery store. You're destined for so much more than that. And having that support throughout my entire life kind of put me where I am now and gave me the confidence to apply for this job at Nike, where I had the confidence to apply for a job that required 6 years experience when I only have 2.5. Right. And, you know, talking to the director of the area, he was like, you're going to be an asset. And the recruiter said, I don't know what you said to this director, but he was sold after the first 10 minutes of talking to you. And he goes, they're going to do their due diligence and interview somebody else, but I wouldn't be worried. And a week after New Year's, I got the call that I got the job. And so just everything that has happened in my past of like, you know, being embarrassed of having the IEP, being embarrassed of having the extra test time, being embarrassed of, you know, having those tutors when all my friends were hanging out, we're all worth it now because, you know, I'm going places and I'm doing things. And I think that's something we were going back on. What do we want to accomplish? I want to go back and be like, I've done tutoring programs for kids, and you know, I've talked to students that struggled in math and science, and people are like, well, you don't understand. I'm like, trust me, like I get it. So that's pretty much my life story, and I'm gonna continue hopefully on and, you know, continue to push myself and prove that, you know, I'm not that child who doesn't know anything. I needed a different way to learn and to succeed. And I think that everyone has that in them, but I think that kind of fuels everyone's fire when you're told you can't do something, right?
Ooh, I'm feeling fueled right now.
Yeah. Persistence t-shirts also good. On the back is going to say not a bagger. And it's persistence t-shirts we're going to be selling.
All right. Yeah. So next up, what is your life story?
Raven.
No. Therese.
I knew it. Man. So, look, it's a lot of story. All of your stories have been wonderful, but I'm going to do mine a little differently.
That's fair.
I'm going to do it in a rap. No, I'm just playing. On the playground is where I spend most of my days. No, I could go through my whole childhood. Like, my childhood was pretty amazing. I'm an only child, parents very much in love. Like, I could go through all of that. I could go through my school history, my career history. The one thing I can say of what led me to where I am today is not being afraid to fail.
She looked in the camera when she did that. She was serious.
She said to you haters.
Okay, I am not afraid to fail. So that means I am not afraid to try. So being from Detroit, you know, when you're from Detroit, you stay in Detroit because that's the D and that's home. But I was the one who moved to New York for my master's. I went to NYU. I was the one who moved to Oklahoma to start a training area in workforce development. I was the one who left Oklahoma to move to what? Where? Arkansas?
Arkansas.
That's my homeboy. My homeboy is like, you still in Bumblefuck? I'm like, I'm still here, you know. And I came here. I failed. I stayed. I failed again, and I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not afraid. And when I say I fail, it's not because I'm a failure. It's because I tried something. Yeah. Now look at all of the days and all of the things I'm not failing at. I could run my resume at what I'm doing and I'm dope at. You know what I mean? But but I'm not. I don't want to go through all of that to know me. Honestly, is to love me. You know, if you get to know me and we spend time together, we laugh, we talk, then I feel like, you know, we can connect. I feel like I could connect to anybody from Brooklyn to the boardroom, literally. So my whole life story is just trying and loving and being authentic and being present and being connected and being a servant, you know, and being a shoulder and being willing to, shoot, I'm about to get spicy cake now. Sorry. It was me.
The cake is spicy.
The
The cake is spicy.
But just seriously, just being jeez.
Let it out.
But just being willing to be used and not misused. You know, like God has led me right here, right now. So it's a blessing to be where I am. It's a blessing to know that I'm gonna try something else and fail at that too. But I'll keep trying. So that's me.
I'm with it.
That's it.
But you hate Mike up. See, you powered up.
Say my answer's like, I don't know.
Mike powered up.
Add on to what I was going to say, based off of what I was hearing from you guys, kind of getting in when you're saying sibling relationships and things like that. I always emphasize living in the moment and having a plan. I do have a plan. I want to progress forward, but plan for the future, but don't rely on it. The reason I say that is I didn't want to leave this out after I heard you talk about your siblings. My brother passed away when I was younger, and I don't talk about this a lot. So he passed away when I was a freshman in college, and my mom, it was something we saw coming for a long time, and the stress of that, at least I'm not a doctor, but my mom has Parkinson's now, and I think it was from years of stress of dealing with my brother until ultimately he passed away. And now she has Parkinson's. She's not doing too bad or anything like that, but it's it's something that there's no cure for or anything like that. So that is my challenge to you, as to add on to what you're saying, is not what are you doing in the future, but what are you doing today, and how are you living out your life the most today. And as we were saying here, you can never know the person sitting next to you, what they have, what they're going through. Things can look picture perfect. As I said, my dad was great, my mom was great. We weren't rich by any means, but we did well. You just never know what other things are going on. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. I feel like if I didn't add that in, I'd be leaving that off. So yeah, I just want to say, make sure you're looking for the next day.
Dang, don't plan for the future, but don't plan
But
on
don't
it.
rely on it.
But don't rely on it. Wow.
I want a t-shirt that says that.
Right.
It's all about merchandise.
And I appreciate you having this conversation, because I don't normally talk about
I was
that to
going to say,
anybody.
that's so good because it tied into everything you already said, though.
Exactly.
About
Yeah, it's kind of like,
one
why am I
day
saying
at a
that? But
time.
you can't leave out that
Yeah.
main
It
motivation.
tied-
And
it
that's
tied
why I
into
do
it.
like travel, and why I'm like, okay, I need to go do these things now. I need to go to the Amazon rainforest. I need to go check out these things. I need to keep challenging myself, because if I'm not doing that, that's an insult to my brother. It's an insult to my mom, and
So it's
the rest of my
like,
family.
yeah, become the CEO, but take that vacation.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's so many people that they're always focused on just that next step before they realize they're not paying attention to the stairs they're walking up.
That was good, Dustin.
I'm glad you added
Yeah.
I think that made
In 2 minutes, I guess how I would tell my story is that I'm someone who's been fortunate enough to see a lot, to go a lot of places, to go through a lot of shit. I love how Jay was talking about all the failures, because I felt like I've taken my fair share of lumps, and there were so many times where if I were to give up, I think I would have done myself a big disservice. And I told myself, well, fuck it, you got to keep pushing, because there's not going to be somebody who comes and saves you. There's not going to be somebody with this cape and the shining armor that's going to be like, hey, let me go ahead and make things easier for you. You have to be that person for yourself. I firmly believe you have to be that person for yourself. Then you have to try to be that person to remind people of that as well. And so I try to be that for my friends as well. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that when I think about my family, think about my large family, I think about the extended family that came with that, and then I think about all the people, all my friends from Arkansas, North Carolina, New York, all these people who I can call my family after being around them and being with them. And so I'd say that I'm grateful. When I look at my entire life, I define it as just a grateful experience. I think everything played a part, and now I'm lucky enough to have her in my life. So I feel like it's all worth it.
That's my man.
It's all worth it.
That was a word of affirmation.
So, have y'all ever heard the album Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar?
Mm-hmm.
If I could sum my life up in the album, it would be that. Had two parents in the house. Now, neither one of them were gang members, but We had outside family members who were in gangs, and often I would talk to them. We had friends who were, I had friends who were gang members who, you know, I would trust. They would walk me to school. They would help me, you know, run game on women or girls at the time. And so I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just that my life has always been about the next person. So I felt like I've been blessed enough my whole life to say I was in the hood. I had 2 parents. I was the oldest of 4. I became the example of what a black successful man should be. Even if I haven't hit 6 figures yet. You know, I try not to say success is 6 or 7 figures. It's what's in your heart. Who are you talking to? What connects are you making? And then, you know, to piggyback off Jawari, I have an amazing partner who I can confide in, who I can talk to, and that allows me to make the music that I want to make. That's that's based on what you don't hear. You know, based on the 2-parent household, based on the treating women with respect, and at the same time turning up. Like you can have that life. It's okay to be. It's okay not to struggle. It's okay to be black and not have that entire struggle. You know, no drug deals, no alcohol issues for the most part, and just, you know, very, very grateful, very blessed.
What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you bringing to the table?
Facts.
Everybody is bringing something so very important to the table, and I want to make sure that everybody realizes that Dustin's experience is no less than Justin's experience because they look different. It just means that there are a couple of things that, you know, have shaped them in a completely different way. But it doesn't mean that there's not going to be something that is going to shape Dustin later on in his life that Justin's never going to have to go through. And so I think that it's important for us to kind of make sure that we take those blinders off every once in a while, and we accept people, we respect people, and we really honestly try to listen to where they are, as opposed to just casting them out and saying, well, you don't have the same, you know, ideas as me, or you haven't been through the same things as me, and because of that, you're not, you know, where I am. I think that we're not going to get maybe where we want to be if we continue to do that. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I am so very happy that you took out the time to sit with us. Please feel free to write in, give us suggestions for questions or topics. I'd love to answer any of your questions, even about the food, whatever it might be. Always make sure that you're treating people with kindness, and always make sure that you're fostering great relationships, and you understand that there's more that unites us than what it is that divides us. And the question that I will ask is, what are you bringing to the table?
#not a bagger.